right, so 1 second. I am getting this situated. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Okay. So, welcome everyone to this week's Oracle Talks. I had gone on to Instagram and to Facebook to just let folks know that I was jumping on so they could start heading over. Welcome to everyone coming in. As you come in, please like the video. It does help to spread the exposure through the YouTube ecosystem. I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much. And today is the first quarter square moon in Taurus, actually, which is very much about manifestation here in the physical realm. And today is also the day that Mars is conjunct Uranus in Aries. So this is a really powerful day. I actually was feeling this energy yesterday because, you know, as a way shower, you feel things before things actually are occurring, right? But I could definitely feel an influx of energy and inspiration and vitality come in, which is really nice. Feeling of breaking through, stagnation, breaking down, strongholds, like all that kind of thing has definitely been in the field and the energy. So whenever things shift like that, especially also too when the moon comes into Taurus, those are usually good days for making progress. You know, I invite you all to make use of this and try to get as far ahead as you can with any of your goals and things that you're working on, because you'll be able to make a lot of headway and balance out the times when you're not feeling as motivated, right? So welcome, good morning to everyone coming in. As you come in, please hit that like button for me. Hello, hello. Can say Omega, always good to connect. Yes, it is. It is always good. Yes, but please, for those of you coming in, please hit the like button to help spread the video. Good morning, Leslie Reed. Good morning, good morning. So for those of you who are new, welcome. Thank you so much for joining in. And because you're new, I will say, and also as a reminder for those who are returning, hello, Stephanie Stevens. Hello, hello. Good evening. Oh yes, you're calling from Europe. So good evening, Karen. Thank you for joining. Oh, as a side note, if you have not had a chance to listen to my interview with John from the Beyond the Ordinary show that actually aired last Wednesday, it is up on the replay. So if you go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com, you'll be able to listen into that and see the special package that's exclusive. So I'm actually going to be doing a series of healing work in March, which is actually when Lent is happening. And that was a specific directive from Spirit to help with the clearing of energy as we finish out the astrological year and make way for the spring equinox. So it's going to be a really powerful convergence. So for those of you who are new for Oracle Talks, and as a reminder for those who are returning, if you're new, please subscribe to the channel, right? But what you want to do is drop into the breath. And if you can, take 5 deep breaths on your own timing, because everyone's breath cycle is different. And what you want to allow yourself to do is to come into divine coherence. Coherence meaning agreement with all aspects of self, where there's singular purpose, singular expression, singular intent. And the intent for this is to receive messages for your highest and greatest good for this upcoming week. And as the vessel, as the oracle, as the speaker, my intention is that for those who are either watching live or who will be watching later on, not only receive the messages that they need, but also receive the healing and protection that is necessary to continue facilitating their ascension process, as well as mine, because I'm part of the same soul group, right? We're actually part of the same soul group, part of the same family. So welcome, soul family. Blessings, soul family. Blessings to you, blessings to your kindred, both incarnate and in the physical or unincarnate. All right. Okay, so those are shuffled nicely. I'm just going to cut the cards. And then the Ascension cards called to me today. I haven't actually used them for a few weeks, so I'm going to pull these, or pull one and see who or what is the anchoring force for this message this week. I hope everyone has been doing well. And of course, if you are new, once I go through all of the channeled messages that come through for me, for all of us, there is time at the end for open Q&A, where you can ask questions about the messages that came through or other things that come up. It can be questions about, metaphysics, tools, techniques, things that you're going through, etc. And I capped this at about an hour, so just, again, for those who may be new, keep that in mind. So the Q&A comes towards the end, like the last 15 to 20 minutes. All right, so let's see who was calling to me from the Ascension deck. Oh, interesting. Nature. Number 3. That's actually very interesting because in my time with Spirit this morning, I kept pulling, I did a couple of spreads, and 3 of Pentacles came up a lot. So, and Pentacles is actually related, of course, to the earth element. So let me read this for you. For us, the nature kingdom was created from the heart of God. The 9th dimensional master, Pan, directs the elemental beings that support nature, and Archangel Perlemiek, angel of nature, lovingly holds and protects nature as it energizes you, raises your frequency, and purifies and heals you. Your guidance is to honor nature's beauty and life force. If possible, go out into the meadows, forests, mountains, lakes, or rivers, and let nature recharge, balance, and heal you. A love of and respect for nature is essential for your ascension and that of the planet. And the affirmation is, I thank, bless, and love the entire nature kingdom. Okay. So, if you've been here with me for a little while, you know that I don't necessarily vibe with everything energetically that Diana Cooper, Diana Cooper, who is the author of and the creator of these cards are. So I don't actually vibe with the energy of that archangel and Pan. So I would say if you want to connect with another archangel as it relates to nature, that would be Archangel Ariel. So Ariel, or Ariel, like the Little Mermaid. It's a really powerful archangel. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, at the bottom of the deck, we had Saint Germain. Okay. And Saint Germain, I don't really resonate with that Ascended Master. Lots of thoughts about the Theosophical Society and all that, but the Violet Flame and the Transmutating Flame and Archangel Zadkiel, and specifically Violet Flame or Violet Light, whatever you want to call it, and Zadkiel, I do rock with. So if any of you have an affinity or something's kind of like, calling out to you about that or any of that came out, that's for you. So let's see what the channeled messages are going to be and what the Mother Goddess through nature is also going to be speaking to us. So I'm going to get all the cards out first. Stay in your space, right? Tuning into what you need, the messages. All right, so the moon goddess energy is very prevalent here. All right, so what we have recently been experiencing and going through and what is influencing the current energy is the Queen of Cups, which if you were here last week or if you watched last week's Oracle Talks, remember this was a strategy that we had, was this Queen of Cups energy. So the fact that this is the past experience means that we did our work, guys. We did our work, right? So there's mastery here. And what's available for us to be able to step into and what we're really ultimately seeking, whether we realize it or not, is the Queen of Swords. And I feel like this energy came up as well too. But I like this journey of the healing of the heart, trusting intuition, going with the flow, North Node through Cancer energy, right? And coming into personal mastery and strength in the mind. Now that these waters have been calmed, and there's clarity now in the emotional body, there's coherence, emotional maturity, and emotional neutrality, then the strengthening and the solidifying of the new mind can begin to occur. This is what's available for us next. Okay. I love this imagery because this woman here is obviously strong and capable. She has a sword. She knows how to fight, knows how to hold boundaries. She is elevated, so she sees things from the higher perspective, so she can discern and judge clearly. She's wearing a sheer top, which denotes her vulnerability, so she keeps an open heart. She's not closed off. The crystal crown or the crystal energy, honestly, that it's more than a crown, that emanates from her head represents the God mind, or the crystal consciousness. And then the little cherub up top is that inner child energy. So the humanity, the lightness of being within, pureness of the soul itself. Right? Because she's in her womanhood, but she's still connected to her inner light, her innocence. Not naivete, but innocence. So it's seeing clearly and loving unconditionally. This also could be guardian energy as well, guardian angel energy. But ultimately, again, healed heart, at least at this stage in the game, because there's always layers that we go through, right? But healed heart now leading to healed mind. So this is what's available for us next. So for us to be able to participate in that, because this is a co-creation, even though so much of who we are and what we are is not what we have created. We are a fractal, and there's so much that is living through us as us. We, as we see ourselves, are, flashes in a pan, right? But the action that we can take is Ace of Swords. So this card for me is the card of the new mind. It's a card of divine revelation. It is a card of sitting in meditation and communion with the heavenly hosts. Every time I see this card at all, even though it's not depicted technically in the card, but this card to me looks like what I see in the uppermost layer of what we call heaven. But for me, this is really the angelic realm. Because, yeah, I won't go on a tangent. But so in the uppermost level, the angelic realm, this is actually what it looks like. So what is being depicted here as clouds is, to me, it's a sea of angels. Okay. This is what visually it looks like for me. And this golden light here is the sun, or El, E-L. Angels are the sons and daughters of El. Okay, so they come around and commune, sing praises, hold counsel, all those kinds of things. And also for me as well too, in the center of this energy, because the angelic realm is an emanation out of the sun, right? In the center as well too, when there is counsel happening, and all the cacophony of things that go on in the angelic realm between the so-called light angels and dark angels. Metatron in his immense sacred geometry aspect floats there in the center. But this crown is the Christ consciousness, or the crystal consciousness, as it can be infused in the different aspects. So in this case, this is the human, the divine human Christed consciousness, or crystalline consciousness, if you don't prefer to use the word Christ, right? And the aces are the Mercury cards in the deck, at least in the Thoth Tarot. So the Mercury energy is the messenger energy. There's a lot that's here in this. But again, divine revelation, new mind, new ideas, being open to the support that's coming in. And especially with today and the energy that we're sitting in right now, in particular with Mars conjunct Uranus, this for me energetically is what that would look like in a card. Mars, the sword, and the divine revelation. The divine mind, Uranus, emanating from the Father, Mother, God principle, which is the sun. This could also be severing cords or contracts with previous thought patterns, and the aligning with new ones. So this could be creating new affirmations, new thoughts that you repeat for yourself daily. And if it's not something that you've done for a little while, and that's something that I'm saying to myself specifically, now would be a great time to do so, because this has occurred, which means that a more clear and conscious way of imprinting a new mind with your individual human specifications can come in, because the crystalline consciousness upload and integration has been going on for a while, and it will continue in its waves, right? And that is something that we don't have control over. We can amplify and speed up the process by our saying yes and shifting our life, but our human expression and the way that we actually use that in our day-to-day life is what is under our control. And so depending on what your new vision is, or what you would like to have or experience, I invite all of us to create new thought patterns for how we want to show up personally, in addition to how we are lining up with the soul. And the soul should be informing everything. So all those affirmations and new visions, what have you, this is guiding the way. Okay, it's this first, which then gives birth to this. So this is the Mother God principle. This is the Father God principle. meaning this is the formless, which gives birth to form. It's not the other way around. Now, the strategy that can help us with doing this, however that looks like for you, because I know I dropped a lot of interpretations on that card. So however it looks like for you, whether it's personal or light worker stuff that you're dealing with, and I may actually talk about that specifically in a second, but the strategy is actually the King of Cups. So we have the King and the Queen out on the board. And this is a card about the conscious yearning and leaning towards ascension to God. And I feel like this card also came up last week too. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. I know the Queen of Cups specifically because that was a really clear and specific message as a strategy. So I love that the King in the Thoth deck. This is the Knight, but the Knights are the King. The Knights, as the Kings, are actually not on the same level as the Queen. The Knights are related to the Sun Sephiroth and the Tree of Life. So this actually represents the divine human Christ incarnate, this card to me. Or all the Knights really, because it's the sun energy. I don't want to get too much in this. I am going to be teaching a tarot class, so I don't want to get too much into this because I am going to teach a tarot class. And I'll be announcing that in the next few months. But if you want to get into tarot the way that I get into tarot, you're going to love the class. So the Knight, in this context, it's showing as a masculine energy, but it's genderless, right? So I'll just say sons and daughters. These are the individual fractals out of the Godhead, the Mother, Father, God principle. Okay, it's the sun energy. After we get to the sun energy, the physical manifestation of that are actually in this deck, the Thoth deck, the princesses. The princesses are the physical rulers or the physical embodiment of the fractals, the souls. But to backtrack, strategy. The deep desire for moving out of the Maya, the waters, the turbulent waters, right? Which we already did. We have that clarity, and striving and taking our heart closer and closer to God. This is always the objective. This is always the foundation. This is the place where we sit in our power. And we see as reality sees. We engage with life from a place of neutrality, which, that doesn't mean that you don't have preferences, likes or dislikes, that you don't have obstacles, but you are not at war with what is occurring. Now, your humanity is going to go through, its experience because it's human, right? But as you are specifically, because we're focused on reshaping the mind and or reorienting our human expression, we come back to that place of devotion of what we are actually striving for and let that shape what we are speaking over ourselves and what new contracts we're creating. So there's no getting it right, okay? It's not even necessarily that you have to have the right words, because the quote-unquote right words will flow when you're operating from this space. And this space births this aspect of divine expression, of divine mind, that is fully balanced and integrated in all levels of being. Soul, human, inner child, like everything is in balance here. And all aspects are looked at when moving through the world. So, she's just not, she's up in the clouds, but she still has a sword. So she's still engaged with life. She still knows how to fight if she needs to fight. Still knows how to fight, hold boundaries if she needs to hold boundaries. Still can be open, be vulnerable, love, sensual energy, sexual energy, just free in humanity, also, but also free in divinity. I'm saying she because it's she on the card, but it's genderless, yes. The queens are the mother god principle. So this sits at the Godhead. This is source, the background field, the quantum field that gives birth to form or the divine mind or the father god aspect. The father god aspect in the thoth deck is going to be the princes. Okay, that's the father god principle. Okay. So yeah, we did just have the victory of this. This is the most recent experience regarding this long-term trend. So that Six of Wands, we did achieve the victory of that. Where we're having divine protection is, again, this balance, Two of Pentacles. Balancing the light and the dark, but really balancing the divinity and the humanity, that which is in the physical world. That's also what this card talks about. And that these two are perfectly balanced and married and pour into each other, feed into each other. This is a perfectly balanced biofeedback system. And you notice of course, you have the yin and yang symbols, but you see, it's probably difficult to see here, but within the yin and yang, the dots there, those represent the different elements, the fundamental forces of nature, but also of creation, air, fire, water, and earth, or archetypally what they represent. And this is literally the core energy of air, that concept, which is the crystal matrix or consciousness, the mind, really consciousness as the Father God principle. So the strength that we can lean on or fall back on, or habits, is the Lover's card. So this is twofold. One, it's community of like-minded individuals who have their heart focused on God. Not attaining levels, not being addicted to what's next, but truly devotion and just sitting in the presence of gratitude. Right? So there's that. This is also talking about the soul group itself, the oversoul, and the connection with all aspects of being. This is also spirit community. So your personal spirit guides, guardian angels, ancestors, different gods and goddesses that may walk with you, or other spirits that walk with you. You've been with your family for generations. Elementals. Other soulmates in the spirits, friends, teachers, ascended masters, what have you. Community, whether in the physical or in the spirit. What we're still working on and we're slowly making our way out of, I love, is the Moon card. This is Moon in Scorpio. This is the astral realm, and you see the scarab at the bottom with the sun, meaning with the new light, passing through the underworld and making its way up. Okay, and it's right at that threshold. So we're all in this process of emerging. And it will still take some time. It is my sense that we won't really feel like we have fully emerged, although, it definitely is going to be getting easier because we've passed the halfway mark. But when we exit out of this North Node through Cancer and South Node through Capricorn axis, which is going to be summer of next year, that we will feel like we have emerged from the cocoon. And then the Saturn transit through Aquarius is going to be getting a little bit more strength and legs under us. Another thing I love about this image that just popped out is there's layers to this awakening, because you see the sun here, and you see this ring here, and you see this ring here. So this process, because a lot of times this card talks about going through the dark night of the soul sometimes, or what have you, but it's a continuing flowering and blossoming of different levels of soul expression. So that for me is another way of how I say these many quote unquote incarnational cycles that we have within a singular lifetime that are guided and molded by the Saturn through Capricorn transit. So, one shell is sloughing off and a new one is being formed, new contracts being formed, and that's this process, and it takes time, because everything is having to shift in some way, shape, or form. And then that new shell that comes in is the shell that is, or the contract or blossoming, the expression, however you want to frame it, that makes sense for you. That's what you are sitting in and exploring for the next 30 years. And then the process happens over and over again. Okay, so, when you go through your Saturn return, you experience that. But then also, when Saturn itself goes through its Saturn return, we collectively feel that. So prayers and blessings to those of you who are having a Saturn return and going through Saturn returning through Capricorn, because you're getting it doubly. Okay, so how we are all showing up right now is the Emperor, which is actually Aries, ruled by Mars. So that's again a confirmation of the energy that we're sitting in right now. This card here is actually Jupiter in Capricorn, but it's a Jupiter card, and that's a divine protection that's there. And we have this Uranian, even though it's Mercury, but it's very Uranian to me because it's the divine mind. So this Uranus energy sitting here with us too. So we're going from this, the Emperor, one in control, power, stability, strong, and we can sit in this because we already achieved this. So now we're making right decisions. We're being discerning. This is a very creative card, as well as being stable. And we are shifting into this energy. Or really, this is the path, honestly. And this is the princess. And remember, I mentioned at the beginning, the princesses, regardless of the element, they represent the physical manifestation of the sun, or the fractal, the individual soul. So on the Sephiroth, the princesses would represent the earth Sephiroth. The knights, or which are the kings, would represent the sun. Okay, so the individual soul, the sun, and the physical emanation of what that soul is looking like would be the princess. So the fact that this ultimately is a journey we're going on, the princess of Dis, which is literally the princess of earth, the physical, but everything related to the earth element, so money, which could be just general prosperity, abundance, making sure all needs are met, your home, health, relationships, creative projects, all those kinds of things. Obviously, the earth herself, taking care of the earth, all those things are related to the discs or the pentacles cards. This is rulership or dominion or mastery in that. And that makes sense, right? Because literally all the other elements that would be necessary to essentially give dominion in the physical realm over all of the human stuff, because the earth energy, honestly, for me, is the human, the personal. And we already did this for this stage of unfolding, right? We're already sitting like this now because that's in place. So water, fire. We are in the process now this week, getting our mind right. That's the air. And then when we do that, this is how we show up. Like we got our shit together. And what is this all about? Right in the center, Six of Cups. In this deck, it's called Pleasure. But for me, this card represents the individual soul, but also healing and doing work of the aura, the emotional body, like just all the things. Like this is the soul as well. It's about our healing here. This is ultimately what we're doing. And honestly, probably another way to say this is this card represents soul healing as well as soul sovereignty, which for me is leading from the soul and the soul power, but also bringing that fully and masterfully into the physical and being able to balance both worlds without running away into one or the other. It's both and, not either or. Both and, not either or. Yes, healing and soul sovereignty. And that is North Node through Cancer, among other things. Like there's so much North Node through Cancer for me is literally soul sovereignty, because Cancer is very much for me the individual soul. Or that's what it represents in the chart. So the fourth house is the individual soul. But that's what this whole transit is, among other things. So much healing available, so many layers available of unfolding. And that's just happening within this very powerful corridor of, Saturn going through Capricorn. And things are going to be different depending on your chart for other timings of things. But it's beautiful. And there's going to be, more and more stages where there's greater opportunity to explore, and everything builds upon everything else. So, and I know, and I speak this primarily for myself, but I'm sure, if you're part of the same soul group, you have similar mental constructs, but you're never really starting over. You're building upon what you've gone through, and what you've gone through necessarily informs what you experience, those skills, that level of expertise, assessment, all that stuff actually plays in and is important. Because the further you go along in life, the higher the stakes get, right? Meaning the more skill it requires, but you need to have had done the previous stuff. So yeah, you're never really starting over from scratch. So I don't know who needs to hear that. Maybe it's just me that needs to hear that. But if things are transitioning and you're having to start from the bottom and shift into something new, something, and it's slow going, or in your mind it's slow going, you're not starting over. You know more now than you did even 10 years ago. It is a different ball game. It's a different ball game. I need to hear that. Thank you, Amanda B. Okay. All right, awesome. Yeah, starting at 0 now. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, I can use that message, not starting over, continuing. I like that, continuing, actually. I really like that word, continuing. It's like when you get to the tail end of a story or a movie and it's just like you get that cliffhanger and like to be continued, and you're like, what's gonna happen next? And like you have to wait till next season. I'm like, no. And while we're all like feverishly waiting for next season, the poor writers are like in the writers' room trying to figure out what to actually do next. So that's what's actually happening right now, is everybody's in the writers' room and they're like, what's gonna come next? Like, how do we want to shift things? I love game theory into this life. Yes, game theory. Are you a mathematician, Kinsei Omega? I'm a mathematician myself. My degree in college was actually in math. But feels better than 10 years ago. Yes, continuum. Yes, continuum. I like that. I like that. But yeah, no, we're all literally in the writer's room trying to prepare for next season. Like the next season stuff. I'm an alien. I have no idea. Well, I mean, you say alien, I say starseed, so I am too, as are many of us in my soul group. So, but yeah, no, I mean, we're in the writer's room trying to figure out what to do for next season to keep, things interesting, but also to stay in alignment with what has been created and what the opportunity for growth is, and what we want to see and do with the character. And, folks are always going to have an opinion, right? Whoever's watching the show, they're going to have an opinion about what's actually happening with the characters. But, at the end of the day, it's on us to write the new season. So I love this analogy. Actually, this is actually giving me, well, I mean, but this is Uranus, like these new ideas, and it sparks things, and it starts to flow. And it shifts the idea of creating something new from like, oh, I have to create, new prayers or new affirmations and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like the old rigmarole, but it's a different way of like looking at it or putting it in a different context where it doesn't feel like the same or have the same kind of energy. And it's still a creative process, but it's just different. So there's something about that I obviously needed to open up. It's like, yeah, what do I want to write? Like I have a general idea, but let's actually get down deep into the character. Like what are the motivations? What has been learned? Where is this character seeking redemption? Where is this character looking to grow? What's next on the list? Like all those kinds of things. So yeah, that's awesome. Yes, the character design to this season is so grand. Yes. Beautiful. Cool. So we are now literally right at the 45-minute mark. Questions. So got the catch alive. This is Trina from IG. Oh, hey, auspicious intuition. I love that. I.e. Trina. Going through a huge tower moment currently. Ooh. Well, tower for me is actually Uranus, so I know tower moments are not fun, but they do make way for new things. Although tower also can be fun because it's still Uranus, so it can bring new ideas and flow in. But since you said tough time, that means that it's not the fun version of the tower. So it's not the fun version of the tower. But yes, questions, anyone? So either about the messages, light worker stuff. Actually, I should probably do a little bit of a light worker interpretation. Definitely lots of epiphanies. Oh, that's good. That's good. Let's see if there's any light worker stuff while I wait for folks to type in questions if you have. So this is a very personal energy for everyone, even though we do have a spiritual community, both external and in the spirit. But as I'm looking at all the cards, it's very archetypally your individual personal experience in developing that inner mastery, the Hermit card. So you may still need to be a little bit more alone. I mean, technically we're still in winter, so that aspect of that going within, that hermit energy of still receiving and still restoring and doing the integration, which I mean, it just happens, but that's coming through clear. So don't think that you are necessarily needing to push more into being more social and all those kinds of stuff, because you may still be in we actually may still be in a bit of the space, although this is still here and available. So it's important for us to start coming out of the shell a little bit, at least. But I think, definitely come spring equinox, which is, a little over a month away, the energy will shift completely. So still enjoy the time. I know I have definitely talked about that before, respecting nature. We are still in winter. Now we're in that transition month because each season has its threefold aspect of the divine coming through. So each season is 3 months, right? So the first month is that fresh, new, shifting energy, but it's, newness. The second month is when you're actually truly in the core essence of what the season is. Month 2. When you get to month 3, that's the mutable month, when things start to shift. So we are about a week out from that. Basically once we get to the full moon and on, that's when we'll really get into month 3 for the winter season. So we're actually still in month 2. We're still truly in the pure yin, for those in the northern hemisphere, the pure yin energy of winter. So keep receiving the deposit. Keep receiving the deposit. When is that full moon, actually, now that I'm talking about it? Oh, it's literally the day after the sun moves into Pisces. So it's on, there's going to be a full moon in Virgo on Tuesday the 19th. right? So starting Tuesday. So you literally have a week to sit in the yin before the energy truly starts to shift. I mean, we'll still be in winter, right? But that's when it'll be mutable winter. I see God in everything. All right, so questions. Nobody got any questions? I mean, I'm down. No one has questions. That actually can be a good thing because it means everyone, I mean, it's actually fine if folks don't have questions because if we have actually accomplished this, you might actually be good. It might not need anything, right? Because your cup has been filled. And when your cup is full, that's actually when the waters are clear. That's a secret, right? When your cup is full, the emotional waters are calm. Which is why sitting in the presence often is so important because we are not necessarily a good judge of our soul essence expenditure or energy expenditure. We may think, oh, I didn't do that much today, but we might have emptied our cup a lot. So if we stay consistent in this, we're less likely to feel off. But there are times when you do need more time in spirit because, again, the expenditure may be more than even what your daily practice of this may give to you. So, for example, I'll talk about myself until I see someone write something or until we get to the hour. One day a week I have what's called a non-human day. And that's an idea I actually picked up from this guy I dated a couple of years ago. And I loved it because, doing spiritual work full time now, the expenditure is great, right? So having 24 hours plus, because I usually start right when I finish one day, and then I just take the rest of that evening and then the whole next day of not pouring into anyone else, not having to do anything for anyone else, not being on the computer at all, just sleeping, resting, eating, and reading. And that's it, once a week. And I may talk to one or two people, maybe quick conversations or maybe some quick text, but beyond that, nah. And it's helpful, and it's become a non-negotiable for me. I don't even schedule if I really can help it, and I've gotten pretty good about it now. But I don't even schedule meeting up with folks. I don't schedule coffee, no dinner, no dates, nothing. Nope. It's not even on the radar. It's my brain just skips over that day because I know I literally don't exist for this time period. So it has to be sometime before this or sometime after it. And that's a simple way of recharging that's necessary. But that's just maintenance. That's general self-care. I actually still get called by spirit to take a couple days every few months to have non-human time. Okay, even though I am consistent with my one day a week, even though I also, because I am someone who is still menstruating as a young woman, I also take as best as possible those days off. I try to plan it, but sometimes my cycle comes earlier or later, so sometimes it doesn't quite work out. But the intention is always there every month to have those days be free or as free as possible, where again, I'm not giving at that time. I am respecting the nature of my humanity and my the natural cycles of the body, so that I can be the best that I can be. So those are some examples of what that looks like for me in a really simple way. Other ways that can look like, which I'm specifically focusing on this year and next, is building this more new community. Like I know a lot of people, but I'm always, it's important to keep infusing new energy so creating new circles, both in the spiritual community, but also for entertainment, because I'm also an artist, filmmaker. But also delegating, hiring folks to do things so I can take things off of my plate, so I can sit in more of a creator energy, operating with this as my primary function, as the soul, as creator, as the guiding light, as the guiding light, as the guiding light, the emperor, as the guiding light, the princess. I love this princess because she has the scepter. She's already actually in the position of power. She's already fruitful, denoted by the pregnancy. She already has inner balance, denoted by the yin and yang in the center of this rose. And she's creating, asserting her will and manifesting here in the physical. All right. We have a few more minutes, so if you do have any last minute questions, and again, if anyone is new here, subscribe to the channel, please. If you haven't already, like the video. Yeah, follow me on Instagram if you're not already. I'm at Inner Sun Alchemy. I also have a Facebook page, also Inner Sun Alchemy. Next Friday is the second interview with Jamar for my new Instagram live talk show series called Divine Masculine Rising. So I hope you guys saw the first interview. It was so fun. Like, I love Jamar. Like, he's adorable. But we are going to do our second interview next Friday, so there'll be brand new questions. So if you have questions that you would like me to ask him as it relates to, healing, faith, love, and all things related to the masculine energy, because this platform, my intention specifically is to give space for a different voice of the love warrior aspect, or the healed man, healed masculine energy. So if you have questions, put them in the comments, or jump on the actual live and type in the question, and we'll talk about it. And it's just an hour, so it doesn't take up folks' time. But since it's on Instagram Live, it's only going to be up for 24 hours. So if you can't watch it at the exact time, you can still catch it within the 24-hour time frame, and then it's going to be gone. So it happens. It'll be next Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time on my Instagram profile, so Inner Sun Alchemy. So follow me there. You'll see me go live at that time, and you can join the live and see us. And then next month, I'm going to have a new person. So each month there's a new man, and we will always have 2 interviews each month. So the next guy, I will put his bio up soon. His name is Bernard. He's a opera singer, actor, motivational speaker. Love his energy. Found him on Instagram. We haven't actually met in person, but I just love his energy, and I wanted him to be a part of it. And he said yes, so yay. So I'm looking forward to him for March. April, I have a man. His name is Jay Christopher. He's a entertainment attorney, and I'm really interested to connect with him too. So, and then after that, I asked 2 other folks. So I'm still waiting to hear back from them, but hopefully they say yes. And if not, I'm going to need some options after April. for dudes to talk to that are actually on Instagram, right? And who actively engage. Because listen, y'all dudes, I understand y'all gotta work, but y'all also need to be on social media. Okay. So that you can be part of my show. Because that's really all it's about. Oh, goodness. All right, y'all. So I didn't see any other questions, so I guess we're all fine. Which is, again, like I said, it's beautiful. Let me get a quick closing message, and I'm going to peace out. I hope this blessed everyone's life. Let it walk with you through the week. That you get everything that you need and you deserve. And that you pray for in divine right timing. Let your heart be open to and for God. Let you receive all that God has for you. Okay, Knight of Wands, which is the King. The King of Wands. Empress. So this is our spiritual power, creativity, sexual virility, sensuality, charisma. Empress is Venus. This is specifically Venus in Taurus, so that Taurus energy is definitely coming through today, again, with the first quarter square moon in Taurus. This is our self-worth, our values, being able to create and generate as well, too, because this is the mother principle, so it's the creative, it's the source, it's the transmuting as well. The Emperor is the one that sustains, but this is generative, but this is also destructive as well, too. So the Empress for me is the Brahma and the Shiva. Emperor for me is the Vishnu energy. Ace of Wands, which is the literally the spirit energy of fire itself, the core archetype. So this to me is one of the most powerful cards in the deck, because it's, if not the most powerful, because this represents to me Lord Agni. So the first fire, or the Big Bang or what have you, but the emanation out of nothingness into something, to me, is represented by this. And then last is Five of Pentacles. Fives are all, cards about transition. So it's transitioning into the six, which can be perpetual growth, or transitioning into the four, which can talk about holding and stability, and waiting, for the next shift. So this can be an up regulation or down regulation, depending on whatever is going on in your life. But given how these cards came out, so this actually came first, then this, then this, then this. What I'm getting is that this infusion, or this, basically this infusion energetically, harmonically, of Mars and Uranus is enhancing this aspect within ourselves, especially creatively. This is a visioning card, too. This is helping us to then create and generate and also dissolve whatever needs to be dissolved, which is helping us walk through this threshold, walk through this next door for something new, which is going to push us out of our comfort zone to create something else. Fives are never comfortable, but they really are about pushing us out of our comfort zone. And this card in particular is a card of transition, of moving from a place of stability, especially if this is related to finances. The Four of Pentacles would be financial independence or financial conservation. And five is transition, doing what needs to be done to shift to the Six of Pentacles, which is financial freedom, perpetual freedom, or just general financial abundance. Okay. And that was all sent by the Magician, dear Mercury. This is the card that says you are in control of this. The universe has given you everything you need. And I just talked about that in the spread, right? All the elements were there. We did the water this past week, whether we're aware of it or not. We are already sitting in the fire energy, truly, with the Emperor. We are in the process this week of creating the new mind, the air element. And as we do that, we become more effective in the physical and creating what we want to create, which was that Princess of Earth. And believe it or not, the bulk of this work is actually more of an internal experience. Now, yes, there is practical external stuff that has to be done. But understand that what's happening internally, how you're processing through your mind, how you're seeing, how you're visioning, is going to be impacting all aspects of your life at some point, okay? But it's actually in your control. You know, all your job to do, because this card is really just about being clear about your will, being clear about your intention, and directing the flow of this. This isn't a card of, it's a creation card, but it's not in a sense of generating like the Empress is, because the Empress is the goddess. Like the major arcana are where the divine steps in. So the divine steps in as you're sitting in this and helps to generate and give birth to something new ideas, inspiration. Again, the aces, right? Mercury. So you're not actually like creating out of nothingness. God does that. All you're doing is being in your place of mastery and directing what that looks like. Make sense? And as you do that, things are going to be shifting. They're going to continue to shift. I mean, no one's been without some shifts recently because it's been a lot. Okay, you are welcome. I love you all. I say it often. I'll continue saying it. I love you all. I bless you all. I thank you all for your presence here on this planet, here in my life. Let's walk in our soul sovereignty and our power. Let us be way showers and healers and warriors of the light. Let us be the earth ambassadors from the spirit realm to help shift and mold and create the new earth, the new trajectory, this new experience, which literally has never been experienced or done before. So we can't look backwards to create what is coming because this has not happened before, which is why we must always lead with the heart and with the soul and what is becoming, right? Our job and the job of the age of Aquarius is not to replicate what was, but to take the core aspects of what was and to create new perspectives, new shifts, new ways of approaching. And it's not even necessarily big stuff or a big shift. It's just a little subtle one, but the shift of looking at it from just another angle opens a door because it's a new key. And it's a new experience of all that the divine is, all that which we call God is. Okay? But it hasn't been done before. So we can't look to the past. What's come before can support us. We're clear about what doesn't work, right? But we're not even supposed to sit too much in the how. I mean, the how will come, but Cancer isn't the how energy. It does develop into that, though, because it's still a cardinal energy. And it's a card related to prosperity and business. So, but it's the heart, it's the soul. All right. Nice. All right, I'll show these and I'm going to go because I can tell I'm going to go on a tangent. 9 of Pentacles, independence in the physical world, sovereignty, the Hierophant, High Priest, which is literally Taurus. Again, Venus energy. Emperor came back, personal power, visioning for the future, creativity, but also stability. Seven of Pentacles, all the choices that are there. And we learn, because I was talking about this ad nauseum while Venus was going through Scorpio last fall. It was all about touching base with what we actually really want and going in the direction of the hell yes, as opposed to the this looks like it has potential thing. And the Seven of Wands, which is victory. And that message was sent by Mother. We got Mother God and Father God here. Creator, sustainer, destroyer. All right, I'm really going to go now. Have a wonderful day and rest of the week. If you have not signed up for my newsletter, please sign up for that. And as I said, please follow me on Instagram and Facebook and subscribe to the channel and share the video and all the things. Love you guys so much.